Welcome everyone, Simon here from the Whales of Wall Street. A quick fire Hedera HBAR video for you guys today. Of course, the last couple of weeks have been exciting developments around Source Swap, the DEX that's built on Hedera. We've also got a mainnet upgrade, I believe. I think it's today. I'll double check. But there's been some great moves on Hedera's market price in the chart, the HBAR token, which, of course, many other assets have been growing nicely over the last couple of months, but Hedera in particular I'm quite interested in. One, because I hold it. Two, because I think that we are approaching a really interesting significant price point. We'll go into a bit more detail in a second on that one. And for sure, of course, the just general development of Hedera. I've actually, for those that don't know, I do some work with Paris Blockchain Week, and I've actually got Hedera AMA coming up in the next couple of weeks, so I'll make sure I put a link to that. I've got a number of different ones, Algorand. We've got VeChain lined up as well, and a few other big hitters. Did Solana last week, so there's loads going on in my life right now. But I'm trying to transform some of that information and some of the talking points, of course, to some of these videos that are coming up in these coming weeks. Just get into the pattern of these exciting developments in the market as we've all seen. Guys, don't forget to smash the subscribe button if you have not done so already. Let's go straight into this as a topic. So first and foremost, I wanted to mention this Hedera price point. Well, to be fair, we did kind of touch it a couple of days ago almost, but we've just gone slightly above it today. We haven't seen these prices properly since May 2022. This is quite nicely aligning with a lot of other assets and videos that we've done in the last couple of days relating to actually having matchups to around that April-May time in 2022. That was like the ultimate kind of ending, if you like, a full confirmation that we were going into a bear and winter market, which has pretty much lasted, nearly almost sort of up to 2 years, quite a long time. The other point to make here, so we had that downward trend back all the way here. We're matching that long-term fib level. This is from a video from a long time ago that I put in. I haven't moved any of these around, and they're great to show some indicated points that we're hitting. So great confirmations there. But the other point was this, back here in February 2021. Now, like with most assets, but particularly with Hedera, this is a prime example of how easily this can be done in such a short space of time. So we're playing around with this area at the moment. And it's quite simple, really, in the sense that there is an opportunity if we scale up the monetary value. So this period of time, by the way, was between sort of 7th of February and to around the end of February. Interestingly, actually almost matching the months that we're talking about right now, albeit it's maybe a couple of weeks slightly behind. The anticipation here is, of course, with most assets to be going beyond the previous all-time highs. We'll have to see if that actually comes into fruition, but the point for this part is that it's potentially a possibility that the excitement of Hedera kicks back in, particularly with all the great developments that is occurring with it. And we're so much more advanced today with Hedera than we are a few years back, which you would kind of expect, to be honest. But look at that drive up from that 14 to 15 cent mark all the way up to here to the 44 cent mark. And this was done in the space really of pretty much 2 weeks. So I'm not suggesting that we'll do a repeated pattern. I'd be very surprised if it does repeat exactly like this and just purely flies up in that manner again. I do think we'll have a more gradual one. But what we will probably hopefully see, in my opinion, is something like where we will see these two particular areas of target. They might have a similar pattern lower on and early on in the space of the kind of market run that we may have towards the end of this year, and when we may see that kind of scaled up approach again, a similar pattern to this but a lot higher up. So these are nice positions right now to indicate that, okay, we can argue that back here you see there's quite sharp moves. This would indicate there was a massive influx in short bursts of time. Whereas at the moment now, we've had a lot of accumulation going on. We're now breaking out of that accumulation period, and then we're starting to now retest these areas. My clear point here is the fact that we have very limited data at these particular price points. So there will be a lot of stability, in my opinion, at these particular key areas of the fib levels. One in particular is one we're playing around with right now, is around this 14 on the nose kind of mark. I would say 14.26, and also the next one up, 15.42. This is my next area of interest. I may sell a small portion of my HBAR across off the exchanges, purely because I was getting a load at 4 cents, and I just want to try and take at least some of that initial investment out. That is what I'm looking for, certainly as an exciting period of time. And that, again, looking back here, you can see there's a lot of resistance out of that area before the major bull run in 2021. But back here, let's get rid of this out of that, February 2021 that we were talking about earlier, this is a top point. And look at that, straight across the bat, on the top here, on the 17th of February, you line it across, and we're looking directly at this particular level. Once you zoom in, it doesn't look as close as you think it is, but we're talking about like 1 cent move here. It's definitely possible, and I definitely think it will be happening quite soon. But we're literally playing around with this area now, confirming those previous areas in the few years back, for us to then try and accelerate to hit the potential target point here. Could we get to 18 cents in these coming weeks? It's definitely possible, and it goes back to that argument of back here. That happened within 2 weeks. Why could it not happen again? Absolutely. But we just got to keep an eye on what moves of furthering with Bitcoin are. A lot of that money is starting to trickle down into Ethereum and then into the altcoins like we saw in previous cycles as well. So it's really interesting. It's really exciting. It's entertaining. But we also still have to be very much conscious about our strategies in regards to buying and selling, or if you're looking for accumulation areas, dips, etc. You must keep your eye on the bull, which is sometimes why it's good to have like a limited portfolio, not too many assets, because it's very hard to manage. I speak from experience and the fact I'm still trying to slimline my portfolio. I had like 40 odd assets. I'm now drilling that down to 25. I'm trying to get that a lot lower, because it is an absolute nightmare, especially if you're using various exchanges. You've got different hardware wallets, and it's no different here. So that's why another tactic that I have, and again I'll mention, if you want a video on how to set limit orders and that process and that thinking process, let me know. I know there's loads of videos out there already, but I've had definitely got great experience in that area, and certainly successful experience, and some not so well that worked. So yeah, it's good to go through those kind of options and ideas as well. So that's where we are with Hedera's price point right now. That's my target areas specifically for potential minor sell-offs in my portfolio. Personally, you might be different in your circumstances of your Hedera holdings, but they're definitely of interest to me. And in general, I'm very excited to hopefully try and get back to those previous all-time highs. It'd be absolutely fantastic to see those numbers again, and hopefully go beyond those. I do have a target price in mind of around $1.20 in this bull run, not this one that we're currently right in. I'm talking about the one that's probably more towards the end of this year into 2025. I think Hedera is massively positioned, almost like a blue chip, if you like, in that instance, and I think there's going to be huge returns on that. So whilst everyone's obviously looking and excited about the meme coins, for those that have been holding these longer term tokens that are really going into a maturity level of their technological ability, we're going to see the rewards of that finally, in my opinion. So let's keep an eye out for that. In terms of like the further moves for Hedera as well, we can argue that the fact that there is definitely room for movement upwards. On the RSIs, we're at 68 and 66 on the 14 and the 28 day respectively. That is still very much nearly middle ground in my opinion, and I think there's a lot more growth opportunity there. It does, however, mean that we might have some stability over a few days before we either confirm back down to that lower section of around 12 to 11.5 cents, or we might stabilize over the next day or two and shoot upwards to those potential target areas that we've mentioned already. 17.93 perhaps is a number that may be more of interest. I might adjust my limit order on that one, which is different slightly to this short-term platform here. This would measure the slightly longer-term fib levels that we've had, and actually is arguably quite a nice number. It's just sitting under that 18-19 cent mark to get that kind of trigger point underneath those rounded numbers. Let's see how that plays out. But in terms of performance, Hedera is doing really well. There's a lot of assets now trickling into a bit of a red on the week and a red on the monthly, but some assets like Hedera are performing absolutely very well over all the different indicator performance wise that we've got over here on this right hand side. So you can see here critically, the massive growth over the 6 month period is very important to understand that there's a really big powerful foundation of holders and definitely people getting excited about the project again. And then this monthly one is of great interest as we lead into that secondary month of great bull run activity leading up to that Bitcoin halving event. Will we see that diminish in the altcoins, or will we see the Bitcoin profits taken and then we see an all season going for maybe a month or two before a downward correction? It's really exciting, guys. Hedera is one of the ones that I hold dearly in my portfolio. I'm not emotionally attached, of course, but it's certainly one that I have massive belief in as a technology. I love the DAG protocol for sure. If you don't know what that is, go and check out the video I leave a link to at the end of this one. It's really in depth and explains what DAG technology actually is and how Hedera applies this method too. So we're going to wrap this video up there, guys. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next chart update video. Take care. Bye bye.